Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Was not expecting to do a reading until January. I thought that was it. I did the December readings. I was like, I'm done. I'm busy. It's the Christmas period. I'm out of here until January. But you can't stop when the spirits when they need you. I was at work today and I just had this tugging sensation. Like I was trying to like spirit was trying to communicate with me. So I think this is a message in itself. There could be a message in like somebody's trying to communicate with you or somebody's trying to talk with you. I had this thing about getting tongue tied, and I had this feeling of like, when somebody says to you, like I was describing it to a friend and I said, do you know when somebody wants to talk to you and they say, hey, can we talk later, I've got something important to say. And then it's kind of like playing on your mind all day and you're like, what do they want to talk to me about? That's kind of how I felt. I was like, what? Like, I know I have to go home. I know I have to do a reading and I don't know what they want to talk to me about. So that I feel like that's part of the message for you guys or for whoever this reading is for. I feel like it's like a specific message for a specific someone. And or what else as well, like just or that tugging sensation of like when somebody's trying to get your attention but you're really busy and it's just like not the right time. It's like, later, I'll talk to you later. So this kind of feeling was coming through. I also had the feeling like, I don't know, maybe one of you really needs a reading and you were like, you've just been like, please let them do a reading for me and trying to like manifest it or trying to like call out to me. And I feel like there was this urgency to it. I almost felt like I had to like leave work and come home and do a reading, but obviously I had to stay in work and kind of finish my shift. So yeah, this feeling of, and it's really funny as well. I was getting like, can't stop with spirits when they need you. And then like that song came on. So I've had a lot of that today. A lot of like, a lot of patterns, a lot of, I will think about something and then a song will play or someone will say something. So it was really hard to kind of like, I don't know, I really felt like spirit was trying to get my attention. So I felt like I say, there's this kind of like urgency, like I need a reading now, or it was almost like someone was trying to make a decision and it's like Monday morning, I need to make a decision. So I need this reading by Sunday night kind of thing. So I'm here. I don't normally do readings this late. The funny thing is as well, Libra's reading, I think it's Libra's December reading, also came through really late. So I had kind of this whole setup with my light and things like this. I prefer to do it in daylight, but here we are. And the thing about sky dancers, I called Libra's reading sky dancers and it just keeps on coming back through. So I did my own personal reading and right in the middle of it, I'm a Libra with sky dancers. And I don't feel like this is a Libra reading, but I feel like sky dancers is part of the message. So I'm really getting this thing about fairies. I'm actually going to use the fairy deck and the dragon deck because I've had two very vivid dreams this week. One was about dragons and then one was kind of like in meditation. I got this dragon thing coming through and then the fairies came through in a dream. So I feel like this is whoever this reading is for, that will mean something. So the first dream was, although in meditation, I had this thing about the serpent coming down and kind of like laying eggs, but then like one of the eggs having a key. I don't understand the message. I'm just telling you what I was getting. It's like the dragon egg is the key. And then the other message was I was kind of like in the dream, I was kind of like sitting there and this little tiny fairy came along and I swear it was about this big. It was almost like a big mosquito, but it was a fairy. And it was almost like I was so surprised to see it and I really wanted to show other people this fairy. And so without thinking about it, I kind of swatted it, almost like I was trying to catch it or something, or, stop it from leaving. And then, but I hurt it. So I had to kind of like, almost like put it out of its misery. So in the dream, and it was horrible. I felt so bad in the dream. I killed the fairy in the dream, but I was like also then able to show people like, look, like the fairies are real. I have the evidence. I'm almost getting this. If you have a choice, I don't know if this will make any sense to anyone, but it's almost like if you have a choice between dragons and fairies, like the dragons are the key, but the fairies, it's almost like there's something negative around the fairies is all I can explain, but I'm gonna pull cards and we'll see what the cards say. Okay, so the other thing that I was getting was this thing about I was getting riverside and like rivers yesterday, and then as I was kind of shuffling the cards and getting ready to do the reading, waterfall and lake came through, and then funnily enough, when I went to pick a meditation sound, the top one was waterfalls. So it's almost this feeling of like, you know how like a river will lead to a waterfall, and that'll lead to a lake, and then that'll lead to the sea. You know, like how like if you follow the water, if you follow the flow of the water gets deeper and bigger and more expansive. So like if you follow a stream, it'll turn into a river, and then the river will turn into the sea. So does that make any sense? So if we're talking about emotions, it's kind of like following a small emotion can lead to much deeper and bigger emotions. And if this is about intuition, it's like follow the tingle or pay attention to the subtle details, and that will lead you to developing your intuitive senses. I also, when I was deleting my old videos from my phone, I deleted 22 kind of files, and it said 22 out of 22. So I had 2222, and that's the second time I've really noticed 2222 this week. So I feel like there's this message about things coming into alignment. I almost want to say for somebody, because again, I had this feeling of like being very, very stressed and something feeling very urgent, but then getting the information or getting the news or getting the answer and then being really happy. It's like it's almost like as soon as you get the reading, you'll have the confirmation you need, and then you'll be really happy. It's like the stress will be gone because you know what you have to do. At least I'm hoping that's the outcome for whoever the reading is for. And again, if it's not making any sense, it's just not your reading. It feels individual. So let's go to the cards. I don't know what we're going to get. Again, it's almost that feeling of I need to speak to you, but I can't tell you what it's about yet. Again, like the thing about tongue-tied. So the lake again. See, exactly like I said, and the throne. Maybe the throne in reverse. It's like somebody's giving up the throne. The lake and the throne. It's making me think of like King Arthur, right? The Lady in the Lake. Like, I don't know. But also, is the throne meant to be in reverse or is it in the upright? Can you tell me which way? No, the throne's in the upright. The lake and the throne. It's like King Arthur, right? The Lady of the Lake. I'm surprised the sword hasn't come out. We've also got the priest. But the lake to me is because I have two cards in my own deck, I have the lake and the ocean, and the difference being the lake tends to be familiar and safe. It's like you know everything that's in the lake, right? You know, now they're giving me the Loch Ness monster. So the metaphor of this is like the lake should be something that's very like emotionally familiar. This should be a place that you've explored a lot of times and you feel safe kind of going in that water. Kind of as kind of juxtaposed to the ocean, because the ocean is stormy and turbulent, and unexpected things happen in the ocean. It's kind of like semi unexplored. So the lake being more familiar in terms of kind of emotion and emotional depth, but it's like big emotions, right? Like lakes are normally quite expansive. So I mean, it could be something about a literal lake. If this is like I have just been on a holiday to a cabin next to a lake, then that's what it is for you. But yeah, also to me, like lakes are with that idea of like Nessie, right? The Loch Ness monster. It's kind of like something mysterious about the lake, something unfamiliar or something that's uncertain in a familiar environment. And then the throne is about, it's the seat of power, right? So whoever holds the throne tends to be the person who is the leader, the authority. But it's also a seat, right? So people can come and go from that seat. Okay, let's keep going. I'm just going to actually do my whole process, pull all the cards, and we'll see what comes out. I don't know if this is going to be a small reading or a big reading. We'll kind of see as we go. I have to say as well, I have been working, so my hands are a bit kind of rough and maybe not the most pleasant, but so I'm sorry if my hands were a bit scruffy, but it is what it is. Okay, I don't know how many times Drifter. So it's like go with the flow, right? They think about the river going to the waterfall to the lake. Go with the flow. Let life take you wherever it needs to take you. And then you've got mindful, herald of change, needing direction. Yeah, bold step forward. Yeah, so it feels like somebody's been drifting, it's like kind of going with the flow, seeing where life takes them. But there's this like sense of Okay, so that's making sense. So imagine you're going, imagine, it's funny, I keep on getting The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, which is a Stephen King book. She's lost in the woods, and at one point she's like, right, I need to follow the stream. So the idea of like, if I follow the stream, if I go with the flow, if I go where life takes me, then that will take me where I need to go, right? I'm going to trust the universe. The universe is going to show me the direction, right? I'll just go with my emotions, or I'll go with the collective consciousness, something like that. So for the idea of like following a river to the lake, it's like once you get to the lake, you know, it's where all the rivers meet, right? It's kind of like in the middle of the mountain where all the rivers meet. So then you kind of feel like, well, I've reached this place. So where do I go from here? I need direction now. So kind of, you know, all these places led me here. And now I'm kind of in the center. So which way do I go? Possibility for Union Skybridge underneath that. There's something with those two cards as well. Do you see where it's kind of like almost, it's almost like I keep ending up in the same place. Did you ever have those dreams where it's kind of like no matter which door you go through, no matter which door you open, you end back in the same place? So it's like whichever river I explore, whichever emotional avenue I explore, I keep ending up at the lake. Like, why do I keep finding myself here? Why does the universe keep bringing me here? But it's almost like because they're trying to channel you. Can you see how it's like the pillars? It's like because they need you to go in that direction. But then the dream thief there. There's them. Oh, look at it. I didn't actually. Oh, okay. Right, okay. I'm getting excited. I've not even pulled all the cards yet. So the underlying always talks to me. So normally when I'm doing a reading, the actual cards on the desk itself will be the reading that I do on camera, but the underlying also kind of gives me backstory, or it gives me context. So I listen to the cards like this off camera a lot of the time. So if you're ever like, where did she get that idea from? It's probably because I've looked at the underlying, but this is going to be the main message. But there's something here about, again, this could be like backstory. So it's kind of like, I keep ending up here. You know, maybe feeling a bit directionless, maybe taking life as it comes, and yet like it's almost like being channeled in a certain direction, but then, you know, seeing something that you want, and then it's like the dream thief, right? Can you see how this ball is like, the dream thief is kind of saying, it's like it's always keeping it out of reach or something like that, or it's always, you know, like stealing it right out of your hand or something like that. Because then, like I say, it's like almost like King Arthur, you know, the lady in the lake, and she gives him the sword. So it's almost like the magician's sword coming in and like either being snatched out of your hand or coming into your hand. The universe is your partner, confidence in your magic. So you're trying to manifest something. It could be that you've handed it over to spirit, right? This is what I want. Spirit, show me the way. Universe, show me the way. God, show me the way. And then kind of like, maybe feeling like it's just out of reach, or because look here as well, stranger curiosity. Doesn't it look like King Arthur, right? Like the hand coming with the sword, or like, and then curiosity. It's like, what's in the lake? What's in the water? And then underneath that, that's kind of looking to me like Narcissus almost. It's kind of like the vanishing mirror. You know, like how the mirror reflects you. Or Hylas and the nymphs, right? Looking in too deeply into it, and then into the divine matrix, right? Seeing beyond the surface into something that's deeper, like a deeper mystery. Sorry, this is a very scattered reading. Again, I wasn't expecting to do a reading, and I don't normally do everything on camera, so we've ended up with the dream thief on the bottom now, which is interesting. Okay, let's keep going. Again, I'm not interpreting these cards too much until I get them in order, because the order matters. 1, 2, 3. Wide open. It's funny because I was noticing stuck in the mud, wide open. Education, Stormfields. What else, please? I was also getting 100%. So I don't know if there's something about 100% accuracy or 100% completion. toes getting 100%, maybe like your battery's 100%. Chariot can be cars, it can be about control, it can be about success, like victory. It can be about feeling like you've got a good handle on things. One, no, two. Again, if spirit doesn't want me to use a certain deck, I just won't get any cards from that deck. Be Spirit Prosperity. So success and prosperity there. That definitely flipped in reverse. Oh, and now it's fine. What is it with that card? Can you see how it's like flipping around? It's a frog on it as well. It's kind of got that like leapy quality to it. Renewal. There's they're both fairies from that deck. They're not all fairies in this deck, but these, and she's got a fairy too. I told you. Like, they're not all fairies in these decks, and we've already got like 3 fairy cards. This is my fairy deck. This is all fairies, and I really want to use this because the fairies are coming through. Go outside, hope. I knew the fairies had something to say. Shine from within on the underlying. It's funny with the sky dancers. The message of sky dancers keeps coming through, right? Like, they're like fairies. Which is funny because I didn't know what it meant for Libra, and I'm a Libra, so I've been puzzling over it. It's like, what is the sky dancers about? And it's almost like telling me, like, you're going to do the sky dancer reading. Father time on the bottom. Again, it's like things are coming into alignment. This is going to be the right time for certain things. Balance, grace, and serene. There you go, talking about Libra energy, right? Balance. And then what else, please? What else, please? What else, please? Okay, and then owl. So the owl is about deep knowing. I feel like somebody is developing their intuition and trusting their intuition. That's serpent. Again, that dragon energy. Ghost dance, thunder, water. The blade again. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, some of you know my process already. And again, whoever this reading is for, I feel like it's going to be someone who comes to my channel a lot. Because I do have this feeling of like somebody wanting a reading from me. But not being able to ask for it, I'm hearing. Like tongue-tied, right? So I don't put any two cards from the same deck together, which is why I'm kind of mixing them up, if you can see me doing that. But I don't know what the cards are that I'm mixing up, if that makes any sense. I just want to make sure no 2 cards from the same deck are together. Sorry if I am repeating myself a bit as well. I wasn't actually expecting to do a reading, like I say. So, oh, okay, something wants to come out already. That was the... So I'm just waiting until I get... Stop, shush, stop talking, I'm not ready. Right. So cards will be realigning themselves already. Serene. We start with serene. I'll just kind of show you. So this kind of peaceful energy, even like a heavenly, it's like somebody looking after you in spirit, right? Somebody who's got your back in spirit, who might bring you a sense of peace or serenity. Could be something about the serenity prayer. Ghost dance. Yeah, no, this feels like somebody in spirit. Again, I've had that feeling of like somebody kind of wanting my attention, like somebody saying, do a reading, do a reading, do a reading. So it's this feeling of like, you know, somebody's spirit guide coming to me and being like, listen, they need a reading. Come and do the reading. The ghost dance. So the ghost dance does specifically talk to me about people who are in spirit. If that has a different meaning to you, that's perfectly fine. I don't know the full meaning of the card. I'm an intuitive reader, so like my guides communicate with me in a way that I'll understand, but also your guides are going to communicate through me in a way that you'll understand. Look, 22. Oh my god, guys, look, didn't I say 22? Oh my god, like 100%, right? 10 2, right? Roman numerals, that's 22. I knew it. This is the thing, I've got this, like, again with the owl, it's like this knowing but not knowing. It's the strangest thing. Knowing but not knowing. Okay. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place. Again, I wasn't expecting to do a reading. Thunder. So this feels like your intuition telling you that something's coming your way, something big is coming your way. Sorry, I had my hand over my mouth if my the audio went funny then. It's almost like feeling something coming in, like spiritually, or feeling like a lot is coming in spiritually. The thunder card to me sometimes talks about being able to hear, being able to hear the drum beat, or being able to put your ear to the ground and feel the vibrations. Like, sorry, they showed me something. I get sometimes little images flash up in kind of like my mind's eye. Sort of a bit like, when you daydream, you kind of like, you can visualize something in your mind. It's a bit like that, but it'll just kind of like flash up. So I'm not like seeing stuff. I'm not like, but like almost like a projector inside my mind is the way I'd describe it. So what just flashed up was, the Jurassic Park with the water rumbling. It's like you can sense the vibrations. You can sense something coming in before you can see it. It's like, something's coming. 2222. It's like you're seeing the signs. You're seeing things come into alignment. You're sensing this thing coming towards you. And it's something big as well. Like, look at the size of the dragon compared to the woman. It's like this big thing coming in. What do we have? Again, this should make sense. If it's your reading, I don't know who specifically I'm reading for. Okay, song. Okay, let's get you a song. Is this your reading? You should know. The song should make sense. Okay, I'm just pulling up my Spotify. So I'm currently on Sleep Sounds. I'll show you what I'm currently on. I'm going to randomize from my liked songs playlist. There's 3,196 songs. Probably some people have a lot more songs than me, but yeah, I'm just gonna do it on camera. Right, feck it. Like, I don't know. So randomizer, you can see it's on randomize, play. What are we gonna have, please? If I get an advert, I'm just gonna have to skip it. What do we have, please, for whoever this reading is for? Eyes by Rogue Waves, or Rogue Wave. So it says, missed the last train home. Birds pass by to tell me that I'm not alone. While I'm pushing myself to finish this part, can handle a lot, but one thing I'm missing is your eyes. It's in your eyes. Have you seen this film? It reminds me of walking through the avenues. We'll be washing my hands of attachments. Yeah. Land on the ground. One thing I'm missing is in your eyes. And it just repeats in your eyes. So that song might mean specifically something to you. Again, the idea of like a rogue wave. And I was talking about like the ocean, or something unexpected in the lake. So like you wouldn't expect a rogue wave to be in the lake. It's 22:44 on the timestamp as I'm saying this. So I don't know. Again, that song may mean something very, very specifically to you. So if it does, absolutely go ahead and take it. But by now, if this is your reading, it should be making perfect sense. Again, they keep on telling me 100%, 100%, 100%. So if you're kind of like 50%, is this my reading? Is this not my reading? It's not your reading. That flipped. Freedom. So there's something secretive. When something flips and goes inside like that, it tells me this is like, this is something that somebody's keeping quiet, or this is something that hasn't been expressed yet. So it could be somebody's need for freedom. It's with a dragon energy as well. Like, dragons to me symbolize a few different things. Again, it can be everything's energy, right, and symbolism for me. So it's not like there's literal dragons that hang around giving me messages, but it's almost like it can symbolize our shadow self, our anima, our animus. It can signify kind of like protective guardian spirits. It can signify something from another, almost like another realm that is like a Patronus, they gave me Patronus. So a bit like, like if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, you might have like a character. You might like, my dragon's, I don't know, got royal blood. My dragon's this, my dragon's that. So it's almost like a personality extension. Like, it's something that is within us. It is part of us, but it's a part of us that comes from like a higher place of imagination, or something ancient about it as well, right? Something that's like deep within our roots, deep within our DNA, deep within our history. This um, magical creature that can't possibly exist, and yet it does. It does exist because it exists in our imagination. It exists in our stories, in our dreams, in our consciousness. So it's like they're as real as our dreams are real, right? Our dreams are, yes, they might not be tangible, they might not be something that we can hold, but our dreams have a huge, deep impact on us. You know, you can have a dream and wake up and think, oh my God, you know, that was because they come from the subconscious, because they come from something beyond our conscious mind, right? They come from this deeper place. And I think that's what perhaps spirituality or consciousness or psychic ability is, right? Is being able to tap into that other place where dragons exist, the world of our dreams and our imagination and our lore and our history. And so with that in mind, like the idea of, it feels very Piscean actually, the idea of kind of like this magical place where no way there, Toys R Us in the reading randomly. Again, that could mean something to somebody. I mean, I'm getting somebody could have worked for Toys R Us, like somebody used to have a job at Toys R Us. Okay, so like imaginative freedom, right? The freedom to imagine dragons. Imagine Dragons, maybe somebody's going watching the band, maybe it's somebody's favorite band. The freedom to imagine dragons. It's like nobody can stop you going on an adventure in your mind, right? I had a dream once where I was a dragon, and I have really vivid dreams. Like, it was as real as if I was a living, breathing dragon, right? I could feel my body as a dragon. I could feel what it felt like to kind of stretch my wings and to be, you know, this huge creature in this small landscape. Again, a very, very vivid dreamer. So in that dream, I was a dragon, and I was a mother dragon as well. I remember, like, specifically, I was a mother dragon, mother of dragons. But it came with this feeling of like being hugely powerful, but also being incredibly nurturing. And I was in this valley. I remember waking up in this valley and then flying. It was this beautiful dream. So there's something about that, right? Nobody can take your dreams away from you. Your dreams are yours. They're uniquely yours. And it's like you could be trapped, you could be imprisoned, and yet you have the ability to have a free mind. And you can keep these secrets, right? You can, where you go in your dreams, you don't have to share that with anybody. The blade. This always looks to me like an eye. The blade. The ghost has the blade. I'm going to get another card on that. Hope. Okay, I feel like it came out in reverse. Let's have a look. That's the right, oh sorry, hit the camera. It's the right way up. Okay, hope. Could be somebody's name. Hope is always there, even if we can't see it. Optimistic expectations can help change a negative situation into a positive one. So this could be talking about manifestation, right? The idea of kind of like envision something better. It's almost like she's looking, it's making me think of Daenerys, right? Like, and I know it's like a dove, but it's like she's looking at the dragon, like, especially if you hold it at a distance. So this is kind of giving me like, you know, when something's, you can't see something very clearly. They're giving me, is it a bird? Is it a plane? So it's like, I can't, it's not close enough. It's too far in the distance to see what this is clearly. And then with the idea of like something coming in, you know, I said like, this is like the thunder rumbling. It's like you feel it before you see it. You know, it's like you feel this dragon coming in before you see it. So before something you've been imagining about manifests in this reality, it's like you sense it coming. So almost like high priestess energy, right? The idea of kind of before we can make something physically tangible in this reality, it comes from a place of imagination and dreams, right? You know, somebody had to you know, if you had an idea for a book or a movie, right? It's like it comes from the space of the imagination first, right? It comes because you've had this dream or this vision or this, you know, you've read something inspiring and you think, oh my God, I've got this idea and I want to put it into, I want to make it happen. So I'm going to write the book. And then the book gets made into a movie, you know, or they're showing me like computers. They look like old fashioned like 90s computers, you know, with the big back. So it's like somebody had to imagine a computer before, you know, somebody had to draw the concept art for what a computer is going to look like. You know, somebody had to, you know, object model it. You know, somebody had to like make the plastic mold. My uncle did this. He used to make some very well known like iconic kind of like toiletry packaging. So I'm not going to say a specific brand, but you know, if you think of like something that's very recognizable from the shape of the bottle, he was the person who modeled a very famous shaped bottle. It's like a random thing, right? But you know, somebody had to be able to see it, like it's like in the mind's eye, right? Somebody had to visualize what is that going to look like, what is that, what is the concept, before we can put pen to paper and make that happen. So the dragon to me is sort of talking about something that is, it's something you've imagined, or it's something you've been trying to manifest. And it's kind of like you're starting to see the signs of that thing manifesting now, especially because like 2222. It's almost like spirit sending you signs that this thing is on its way, right? It's going to come into your reality. So hold on to hope. It's like you are seeing the signs and this thing is kind of starting to take form, but you don't know what it's going to, you don't know what the end product is going to look like, right? You have a concept. You're starting to visualize this thing, but it's not, it's a weird feeling. It's like it's not, I've got about three things at once there. So they were showing me Play-Doh, you know, Play-Doh, and then they were showing me sort of like sculpting something. It's like it's not set in stone yet, right? It's still pliable. But then I had this feeling of like, again, you know, I had like tongue tied. It's this feeling of like something about under my tongue, like a tightness under my tongue. It's like not being able to, it could be the idea of, I can visualize this, right? I know what this is supposed to look like, but I can't, but I, you know, I have to be able to find the right words to explain this to someone. So say for example, I was a movie director and I had this brilliant movie, something a bit like Game of Thrones, right? Like a fantasy movie or the Dungeons and Dragons movie. And I was like, right, okay, I know what I want this dragon to look like, but I have to describe this dragon to somebody and I don't have any art skills. If I try and draw a dragon, it's going to look like a potato with wings, right? I've not got the art skills, but I can see it. So how do I find the right words to explain to this, it's like a concept artist or something, or like an object modeler, how do I explain to this person what I want this thing to look like? I like, it's almost like, because it's something conceptual, right? It's something that perhaps you feel more than, especially if it's something very otherworldly. It's like, how do I find the right words? There are no words to describe this feeling or this concept. Let's keep going. Like freedom, grace. Is it meant to be in the reverse? I don't know, but isn't it funny that all the dragons are coming out in a row at the top? We've got 3 dragon cards in a row. Freedom, grace. Like it could be like something about like a grace period. Hope, grace. That's too many all at once. I don't know which one you want me to take first. So I'm just talking to my own guides there for a second. I need more clarity, please. Thank you. So renewal and they're out. Okay, that makes sense. I need more clarity. So groupthink with mindful. This is too many chefs and not enough Indians, right? Like that old saying. And again, I don't mean to be like offensive. It's maybe not culturally appropriate to say that anymore. But chiefs, not too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Too many chefs in the kitchen. It's like I mixed up 2 things there. This is like too many ideas, right? I've got too many ideas in my head. Like, it's overwhelming. There's too many opinions. There's too many. The thoughts are too overwhelming. I can't. It's like I can't pick one out, right? There's too much information. I'm getting overwhelmed by it. Or, like, the ideas are coming to, like how I just said, it's like I got three things at once. I got Play-Doh, and then it's almost like I saw, like, something that's like a harder lump of clay, almost like it was being maybe something more like wood carving, right? It's kind of like, you can different methods of creating the sculpture. And then I was also given that thing about the tongue tie, but all three things came at once. So it's kind of like, how do I put this in order? And then the funny thing is, right, so this renewal card with the frog spirit, it's like she's picking one out. So it's like, I'm going to pick one idea out. I'm going to select one person to speak. You could feel like a little bit put on the spot. So it could be like you're getting singled out from a group, or you're singling someone else out from a group. Because the thing is, like, he's holding his throat, and it's funny, it's like literally what I was just doing with the, because like, if you hold under your throat, like if you hold sort of under your jawline and then you talk, you can probably feel like your tongue muscles moving in your throat, because I can right now, and that's kind of what I'm doing. So it's like that. It's like, oh, have I like a frog in your throat, or feeling tongue-tied, feeling put on the spot when your idea is like selected. There's this thing about, like, this card always gives me like the handsome prince, right? It's like, this frog's being selected. It's like, you're the handsome prince, and he's going, who, me? And he's wearing this little crown. It's like somebody who doesn't know that they're, or like the prom king or something, right? It's like the prom king, and they're like, who, me? No, there must be some mistake. So it's like your idea getting chosen, and you're quite surprised by this because you weren't expecting it. Or renewal, groupthink, mindful, groupthink, hope, grace. Let's keep going. Again, it looks like sometimes I get more information as more cards come out. Grace. So what's going on with these dragons up at the top? Serene, freedom, grace. Serene, freedom, grace. It feels like something that's higher vibrational. Just too much is coming out again. I don't know what to take, and I don't know what to take first. Again, I don't know what to take first, right? I don't know what. It's like too much is coming out. I don't know what to take first. I need direction, bold step forward. But that kind of came out in the reverse. But I can't take a step forward. So it's like that message that came through at the beginning with all the different options and sort of feeling funneled into one direction. It's like whatever path I take, I keep ending up here. Too many ideas, too many options. I need direction. I can't take it. Maybe it's to do with education. I can't take a step forward on this until I get maybe like more information. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you need more information about something, and that's going to help make your mind up. Sort of like when you have a lot of options, or like you have a lot of potential routes available to you. So it's kind of like speak to people who've done it before, or speak to experts, or I don't know, Google it. And you might get more information, and you might start to cross some things off the list, like, okay, that's not an option because it's just not viable. So for example, say you were trying to get somewhere and you had lots of routes available, and so you're on your GPS, and then you're like, well, I can't go that way because now that I've looked into it, that route's going to be closed. So it had that thing about I missed the last train, right? So it's like I wanted to get to that place, and I was thinking maybe taking the train was going to be a viable option, but there's train strikes, or that bit of track is like closed for repair that day, so I can't take that option. So it's then like you're narrowing your options down. So it's almost like you don't have to make a decision yet, but you do need to start exploring your options. And when you start exploring your options, then you're going to be almost like funneled into the right direction, because Spirit's going to remove or complicate some of the other directions. There you go. And then you'll know which way to go. Now it's in the upright, the farther gate, bold step forward. It's like wherever you're meant to go, the gates are going to open for you. So if you go somewhere and you can't go that way, like your path is blocked, spirit's redirecting you, sort of like Ganesha, like he's the lord of obstacles, right? He puts obstacles in your path if it's the wrong direction, to reroute you to the right way. So it's like, don't force anything. Okay, that's interesting. Don't force. It's making me think of like because we're getting all the dragon, it's making me think of like armor, right? Don't force anything. Don't force a choice. Don't feel like you have to make a solid choice right now, right? You can say, these are the choices I want to explore. Serpent and the horseman, herald of change. Mindful groupthink, herald of change. Again, going back to that dream I had, where it's almost like, I don't know how much detail to give of this. It was this feeling of like this big snake, almost like a python or like a big serpent kind of like coming down, but not like it was like a devil, right? It's not anything like that. It was almost like you know, a space dragon coming down, and into my body was the way it was coming through in meditation, and then like laying eggs inside me, which sounds really, really creepy, right? It sounds almost like, you know, the movie Alien, which I was joking about when I was talking to my friends about it, but it didn't feel like it was anything wrong or devilish or bad. It felt like it was something almost like I was being given a blueprint, right? I was being given eggs or seeds of ideas to nurture from something that was higher. Because again, the serpent can indicate kind of like Kundalini energy. So if you do meditate a lot, or again, some of you are kind of like, what's she talking about? This is really creepy. But if you kind of do some basic kind of like research, or, you know, exploration of the idea of kind of or just Google Kundalini energy, right? It can be sexual, but it doesn't have to be, right? It can be like tantric, but it doesn't have to be. It's just like in meditation, you have these 7 chakras, for anyone who's not aware, right? You have the root chakra, which is kind of like at the base of your spine, kind of at the bottom of your torso. And then you have these 7 chakras that should be in alignment, and the energy should be able to flow through them freely. So you have, for example, your heart, which is the 4th chakra, right? Which you want to have good energy flowing through your heart. You want to have the energy to be able to flow clearly. You don't want any blockages there, because if you have blockages in your heart space, right, it's kind of like, you know, you could be emotionally blocked. You could be unable to feel love or to fully understand and express those feelings. If you have a blockage in your 5th chakra, which is your throat chakra, you know, and again, especially because you're getting this stuff about tongue tied, you may want to look into exercises that open your 5th chakra, and, you know, help you find the words to explain what you're seeing or what you're feeling inside. So again, it could be this feeling of kind of like, maybe there is a blockage where between your 4th and 5th chakra, where, you know, you're finding it hard to express the things that you're feeling. So you may want to look into the concept of Kundalini, which is this serpent that it's described as a serpent, but it's kind of like a coil of energy. If we kind of take away the kind of slightly, I think sometimes it can sound slightly disturbing to anyone who's not familiar with the concept. So think of it as like a coil of energy at the base of your spine, a bit like a spring, right? Tightly coiled, pure energy. And the idea is that you through meditation practices and things like this, you help that energy rise throughout your whole body. So sort of from the base of your spine up through the top of your head, and you know, then you open up all your chakras, and you'll be able to better communicate with your higher self, your intuition, you know, better understand your instincts and your emotions, communicate them better. So it's all really positive, helpful things. I think sometimes the metaphor or symbolism around it can be a little bit off-putting or confusing. So again, this idea of kind of like the serpent coming in through my crown chakra, it actually came in almost like from high up, but through my heart chakra and then through my lower chakras. It kind of like, that's where the seeds were laid. So again, the lower chakras, the sort of first to third chakras, can kind of be more associated with confidence, and creativity and inspiration and spontaneity and kind of like acting on your desires. So again, the idea of like the seeds being laid, these creative seeds being laid that need to be nurtured. So the reason why I'm saying all this is because the dragon energy was at the top of the reading, and now it's come down into this lower realm, right? So if we're talking about, it's like that, it's like feeling something coming in, right? And then it's starting to come closer or starting to manifest. If you were down here and the dragons felt like they were far away or up in the sky, it's almost like the dragons are reaching down to you. It's like you're reaching up and they're reaching down. But we have Herald of Change there. So the Father Gate, bold step forward. What do we have after this? And the dragon at the top again. What can I say? Balance. So a step towards balancing some energy. A step towards the idea of kind of like yin yang, good, bad, this, that, masculine, feminine, salt and pepper, cheese and onion, right? It's like the balance between the two, getting the balance right. Taking a step towards getting the balance right. Okay, this, I really want to know what card's going to be there. The Serpent and Balance. What's next, please? And it helps with balance. So for example, I came to the ideas of like Kundalini and meditation via yoga. So I was doing yoga just to improve my strength, my flexibility, and then, you know, finding kind of like more like the concepts associated with wellness via the yoga. So obviously yoga is great for balance. So, you know, the idea of kind of like balancing out your chakras as well, balancing out your energy, finding your equilibrium, you know, your emotional and energetic equilibrium. And then what's this one? There she is, life energy. Yeah. The happy fairy of sunshine brings lots of life-giving energy. She reminds you to shine your light and to reveal anything in the shadows that needs to be healed. Again, you know, light needs dark and dark needs light. We can't see anything. If we were in pure white light, right, the heart of the sun, we wouldn't be able to see anything, right? There'd be no contrast. And the same with like, if we were in complete darkness and shadow, we wouldn't be able to see anything. The light needs the dark and the dark needs the light, because it's the contrast where we find the contrast. It's the contrast where we truly see, right? It's the contrast where we see, we can make discoveries. So perhaps there is this idea of like, I need to bring more life energy, I need to bring more sun energy into this situation that could be quite dark. So you might be in a bad place at the moment, you might be struggling a little bit. So how do you bring, especially if you're a little bit overwhelmed, right? It's almost like this feeling, I don't know if you feel this, I feel this. Again, being someone who taps into the collective consciousness, and since I started doing readings, I've been talking about, Pluto moving from Capricorn to Aquarius. I keep talking about it because it's such a huge generational shift. It's like, and then with Father Time, the idea of like, it's time. I've seen this coming for a long time. I've been predicting this. And like Pluto sort of, I think by February next year, will be fully out of Capricorn and into Aquarius for like the last time in this rotation. It kind of dances between the two of it. So the idea of like, I know this is going to bring a shift. It's going to bring a global shift, because Pluto does that, right? When Pluto moves into a different zodiac sign, a different house, it brings a big shift, right? And it moves, I can't remember how long it takes to move between, I want to say it's 7 years, but I would have to fact check that. It's a really slow moving planet. And so, you know, if you think about like 7-year cycle, like think of like the 7-year itch, right? People say, oh, the 7-year itch, you've been in a relationship or you've been in a job for 7 years, you get the itch. It's because Pluto's shifting, right? And Pluto brings big changes. So it does feel a bit like, I can see this shift coming in, I can see this change coming in, and it's kind of overwhelming to me. So rely on your your practices that make you feel balanced and grounded. So to me, this is about when I do my meditation and I do my chakra work and I move the energy up and down my spine, I often visualize a pure bright white light, and I visualize it as like the center of the sun. And so when I'm in meditation, I can see a light opening up and it getting brighter and brighter and brighter, and then kind of like, embodying that light and kind of pulsating it out of me. And like, I feel like I'm shrouded in light, and then I kind of make it brighter and bigger. And I can extend it to the people that I love as well. I can protect people I love with this pure white light that I can tap into. But that doesn't mean, but part of that is understanding that as much as I reach up, as much as I stretch my energy up to the higher realms, to the heavenly realms, whatever you want to call it, into the imagination, in order to do that, I have to plant my roots more firmly. I have to kind of ground myself. I have to dig my heels in, right? So think about it. Think about trying to balance. If you were trying to balance on one leg, you might kind of like stretch out your toes. You might kind of grip your toes. It's kind of like you have to plant yourself firmly in order to balance and in order to reach up higher. So it's not just about going more and more towards the light. It's also about kind of rooting yourself in this reality, in the earth, it's like it goes both ways. To get true balance, you have to root it both ways. You have to have the light and the dark. You have to, again, this thing was coming through in the last set of readings, the idea of a conduit, right? A conduit that's between two realities. Where the two energies meet. So the concept perhaps of, I'm saying I, it's like the collective we, right? Are we those who do meditation with, those who channel? Are we, it's like fulcrums, but not fulcrums. Are we creating spaces where two realms can meet? Like this meeting place, right? The middle ground. Perhaps it is the middle ground where two, it's almost like, I normally see this as kind of like, you're here, you want to get over here. But now I'm seeing it as like the middle ground, right? The no man's land. Like, we come out of this gate and they come out of their gate and we meet in the middle. It's like your physical body is the meeting place for these two realms to meet. Strange reading. The Holy Mountain Yak. Thinking meditating, I told you, meditating up there on the top of the mountain. And then go outside. It's time to go outside, tune into the powerful peace of nature wherever you are, and feel at one with your habitat. So yeah, this is about, you could have leaned into your imagination space or the dream space, or an alternate reality to this tangible reality that we're in. And again, it's kind of like, sometimes you can get lost in that. Think about people who, for a variety of reasons, they kind of get lost in their own imagination, and they, it can be hard to contact them. It can be hard to talk to them because it's like they're away with the fairies, right? There's the fairies again. So this is kind of similar to what happened to me in work. And again, I was in work for quite a long shift. And for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I just felt like I was getting pulled into, the spiritual realm or the psychic realm or the other place. So I kept on saying to the people I was working with, I was like, talk to me, right? Talk to me, give me things to do, help me to, it's like almost like, help me to be here, help me to be in this reality, because the other reality is pulling me right now. So again, the idea of kind of like, go outside, be with the earth, be with this planet, be with this reality. Like, it's almost like touch grass, right? Get out and touch grass. So it could be the idea of like, sometimes when people, maybe like, elderly people who live alone, and or anyone who lives alone, and kind of they slip too far into, I don't know, it might be a role-playing game. I play this role-playing game, this RPG, this fantasy game, And I spend more time in that version of reality than I do this version of reality. And I'm not calling anyone out. I play computer games, right? I know how easily it is to kind of like get very absorbed in that. Or even like, I love reading books, right? I love reading, fantasy book, Harry Potter or something. And it's kind of like, and I get lost in that, right? I get so absorbed in this story, in my imagination, or like films or whatever it is. It's like I've gone into this, it's almost like going through a portal into another reality and getting quite disconnected from this reality. So it's kind of like, maybe this happened to a lot of people during COVID, right? They ended up just kind of drifting into their own mind space, again, like mindful group thing. It's always like, or like even that concept of when somebody's got a lot on the mind, somebody's got a lot going on and they've got a lot of things to think about and they're quite stressed, and they're running through things in their own head, and you're trying to talk to them, but they're kind of like drifting off because they're thinking about, I've got to go shopping, I've got to do this, like that thing's going on in work. So it's like you're trying to have a conversation with them, but they're not quite there because like they're mentally somewhere else. So yeah, go outside is looking to me like, don't forget to ground yourself, don't forget to plant your roots in this reality, like touch base, touch grass, touch base. Because think about like a tree, right? For a tree to grow really, really big and strong, for a tree to be able to really, really, reach its branches up and go higher than all the other trees, it has to plant its roots really firmly first. Because if a tree isn't firmly rooted, a storm could come in and blow it over, right? And it's never going to reach its full potential. It's never going to reach up, as high as it possibly could. But these big, strong trees like oak trees or, ancient like redwood trees and things like this, because they're in, really firm soil, like, they can plant their roots really, really, really deeply and get stuck in there. Really dig their toes down into the earth, if you want to think about it that way. They're able to grow for so many years, right? These big ancient trees, and they grow really tall. So it's like, if you really want to, the message seems to be, if you really want to stretch into that other realm, right? If you really want to reach into, I don't know, your own imagination, or like your psychic abilities, if you really want to stretch those, whatever this is for you, this other place, it's like you have to ground yourself more firmly in reality. The more firmly you ground yourself in this reality, it's like the deeper you'll be able to reach in the other reality. Hang on. It's like, sorry, I'm just trying to like, again, like explain what I was given then. So it's this feeling of like mirroring, or parallel paths. It's like the stronger you are in this dimension, the stronger you are in the other dimension as well. So if you have to take a walk and touch grass, go outside, maybe even like, step away from the book or the game or the movie, or, just go outside and talk to people, or, just shake off the cobwebs. It's like, that's what you need to do. Okay, life energy, go outside, life energy. And it can be that thing as well about like, a healthy mind sometimes requires a healthy body. Again, there's a lot of complications here. Not everybody can do everything that everybody else can do, but the idea of kind of like, if you go out for a walk, you're stimulating the blood pumps around your body, and the brain needs, like, right, okay, so you go out and you exercise, you go for a big walk or a jog, you get out of the, maybe like the idea of like cobwebs, get out of the pollution of the city and go to the countryside for a day out, for a walk, breathe in the fresh air. Even if you can't get out of, like, if you live in a city and you can't get out of the city, it's like, go to a park, go to somewhere where there's trees and grass and water, where there's natural things, squirrels, and like, walk around or kind of do whatever you can in that place, get the blood pumping, breathe in the oxygen, because that's what trees do, right? Trees take the carbon dioxide out of the air. Trees breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. So it's kind of like for every person there should be a tree, right? It's kind of like you should be, again, the idea of like this and that, yin yang, balance, masculine, feminine. You know, we're designed to live with the trees. You know, it's something like that. I don't know. So yeah, like we're meant to live in harmony with our planet, right? This message comes through quite a lot. I'm just trying to pull that in. I think it's gone. The message is gone. No? Okay. Yes, no? Storm feels. That's what I said, right? It's like and stuck in the mud. Okay, based on what I was just talking about the idea of like, if you were a tree and you weren't firmly planted, you would blow over, right? So it's almost like in this moment, being stuck in the mud is almost an advantage, right? Because you're not going to get blown away by that storm. Kind of like if this house had like deep foundations, you know, it was really solidly built, the storm isn't going to be able to, yeah, it's something about sturdiness, like, because the elephant's really sturdy, right? It's like a big heavy, just think about like stone cottage, this big elephant. It's like it's going to be harder to move. So it's almost like if you feel a bit almost like too rooted in this reality, it's not a bad thing at this time, because again, you've got this herald of change coming in. It's like the storm is coming, right? You can feel, you know this. At the beginning of the reading, you have the thunder, right? It's almost like you feel the storm coming in. Whatever the storm is, it's probably metaphorical for something. You feel something big coming. It's almost like hunker down, right? You see the warning sign, so hunker down. It's funny because you've got go outside, right? Go outside. Feel at one with your habitat. And then the storm coming in. Hang on. Life energy, storm fields. Holy mountain stuck in the mud. So it's almost like coming back down to earth, but with a thud almost, right? It's like you know, maybe being a little bit away with fairies and then waking up and being like, you know, like real life hitting you quite hard. Maybe it's even something like, you know, being really absorbed in a book or, you know, a computer game or whatever it is, like being very absorbed in something that's to do with, it's like stimulating your imagination or your ability to fantasize or dream. It could even be like waking up from a really deep sleep and a really long nap and kind of like looking at your phone and seeing something on the news, right? And being like, oh my God. It's like, it's this feeling like something slapping you in the face almost, or like something being quite a, like a reality check. But it's almost like, I want to say there's something about like, it's like the storm's going to pass over you because you hit the ground so hard, right? It's almost like because maybe something to do with like, because you stretch so high, almost like Icarus, right? Somebody was talking to me about this, like because it's my eldest, she was saying to me, I've got 2 songs called Icarus on my playlist. So it's almost like, you know how Icarus, you know that really good painting where he kind of like flies too close to the sun, and then he plunges down into the ocean. Of course, in the myth he dies, but what I'm seeing is, it's like because you got too close to the sun, right? You lean too far into this other realm. And so when you woke up again in this reality, when you touched grass again and you realize this storm was happening that perhaps you've been quite unaware of. It's almost like, you know how like you know, the higher they are, the harder they fall. But it's almost like in the process of falling, it's almost like you know, in movies where, sorry, just sometimes they show me something to help me find the words. So you know, in movies sometimes, like, you know, somebody's on a boat and they're like a James Bond movie and the boat explodes, but they jump into the water just in time, and then like you can see the explosion, like they're underwater, but you can see the fire and the explosion above the surface of the water, but they're okay because they're underwater, right? So it's like it doesn't hit them. So it's something like that. It's like because you fell down to earth so hard, it's almost like you were hunkered down, or you were kind of like in, it's like the storm went over your head. So it's almost like this high and low. Making me think of Libra's reading, because Libra did have this thing about like with the sky dancers. It's like because you, it's like if the storm field is hitting, because it's in the middle row, right? So you've got 3 rows. You've got the realm of the dragons at the top. You've got what I want to say is like down to earth here. But you've got this middle section here. So it's like if something rolls through, it's rolling through the middle section. So if you, it's making me think of it's making me think of like this concept. It's in Silence of the Lambs, but it's a Charles Darwin concept, right? The high rollers and the low rollers. If you breed 2 low rollers together, they're going to roll all the way down and hit the earth, right? So it's kind of like you have to have the balance. Yeah, it's in Silence of the Lambs, but it's a Charles Darwin thing about when he was breeding the birds, and he was breeding I think it was like pigeons or something, and they kind of like this particular bird he was breeding. I've read Origins of well, not the whole book, but I've read parts of Origins of the Species. So it's kind of like, you know, if you breed these birds have this habit of like flying high and then tumbling towards earth. So it's again, it's like the sky dancers, right? So it's like if you you know, if you breed like 2 to get like the 2 wrong ones together, it's like they tumble all the way down and hit the earth. So you can't, I don't know, does that make any sense to anyone? I'm gonna move on from it, but it's like if this is rolling through and hitting the middle section of something, it's like because it's like you don't roll in the middle ground, like you roll high and you roll low. It's almost like, oh, think about planes. You know, like when a plane hits turbulence, it's like you either go higher or lower, because if you stay in the middle section, you know, like the storm's hitting you too hard. So it's kind of like you can fly above the storm or you can fly under the storm, but don't fly in the storm. So it's like almost like if you feel like you hit the ground hard, if reality hit you in the face and you almost, you know, it hurt, like they're giving me, you know, that chat up line where it's like, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? It's like, yeah, it did, but the storm passed by overhead. So yeah, I'm a bit bruised, but I survived the storm. God, I love, you know, I love doing these readings because I get these mad stories through. It's like, I don't know, it's gonna, it all makes sense to someone. You keep telling me 100%. Like it'll make sense 100%. Education. Go outside, education. There's the fairy in the book. You just showed me. Again, it's like in that dream, I kind of swatted the fairy. This poor little fairy. It's so pretty and it's so special. And yet in order to, because I wanted to show other people, I hurt it. And I'm not encouraging anyone to do that, right? Somebody, right, I feel like this is something that was done to you. So somebody wanted to show, okay, somebody wanted to show something magical to somebody else. And but it's like a person, it's like they hurt a person because they wanted to show them to somebody else. But it's like instant regret, right? It's like instantly, it's like hurting someone and then instantly regretting it. This isn't even making sense to me. I don't know. I'm trying to explain it. It's like, funny because one of my readings I was talking about Tinkerbell, you know, where she's like, somebody traps Tinkerbell in the lantern. So maybe how you have some kind of like magic, right? And it's like, oh my God, that makes sense now. So I was tidying up my cards last night and 2 cards came out of one of my other decks. I'm not going to be able to find the cards because it's one of my mega decks. There's too many cards. It's like 200 cards to go through. Actually, I feel like I need to show you. God. This is, this might be a bit of a mission. I'll explain it to you though. So I've got this card and it talks about this story of, it's one of the kings. It's like King Minos or King Midas. It's funny because I'm talking about Icarus as well, right? So if you know, they're all connected. So King Minos, who is the one that has the Minotaur maze. He has not Pygmalion. I can't remember his name. I think it begins with P, but he's this Greek architect. He's like brilliant, and he's the father of Icarus. So King Minos he traps this guy with this all this knowledge, right? I can't remember his name. It's really annoying. King Minos. I want to say he's of Crete. This is, again, my degree was in classics, but my memory is very shaky. He traps this architect. He like locks him up in his castle because he wants him to, he wants his knowledge for himself. This isn't the story I was thinking of, by the way, but it's coming through this way. And he wants his genius, right? He wants his genius for himself, so he traps him. And then his wife Pasiphae falls in love with this bull. That's a whole thing. She gives birth to the Minotaur. King Minos is like, oh my God, this monster, you know, and he goes to this architect and he says, design me a maze, right, that this monster can never escape from. And so I can't remember his name. It's really annoying me. The architect designs this maze to keep this Minotaur in. And again, he wants to escape. It's like it's like all these stories that are all interwoven. Like, right, I feel like this right now. It's like all these different stories are all interwoven in my mind. It's hard to kind of like create the narrative. And so, yeah, he wants to escape. And the reason why, you know, Icarus has the wings in the first place is because he and his father are trying to escape this place where they've been kept prisoner. So they're like, right, the only option is to create this masterpiece, these massive wings, so that humans can fly. And that's the whole story of it. I don't know what's coming through like that. But there's this thing as well. Oh my God, I just like, there's so many cards, guys. So many cards. And I was like this, going through them one by one. And I stopped to talk. And then I just picked up the deck again and just went like that. And that was the card. It's just like Spirit was like, there you go. Oh, sorry. There you go. There's the card. Right, secrets links. Let me tell you this story. Is it the Animal Spirit Oracle deck? It is indeed. Right, number 2. 222. Do you see that? Do you see how Spirit works? The 2s again. 222. Secrets links. I want to say, whoever this reading is for, Spirit is sending you signs. Your word is your bond. Do not gossip or entertain gossip. All may not be as it seems. Be shrewd about who you share your confidential information with. A little mystery can be a good thing, but keeping secrets that are detrimental to others may not be. Again, that thing about tongue-tied, about not being able to say something. There is some news worth sharing, but be discerning. There was this thing in work where I couldn't say everything that I needed to say, but I needed to be able to say enough, right? So the idea of like getting the balance right, I need to be able to say enough to explain something, but I can't give too much information away, right? It's like getting that balance right, like what should be said and what shouldn't be said. After man had suffered many famines, the goddess Demeter decided to share the secrets of agriculture with humans. There was a sacred field of wheat grain in Eleusis. I'll show you the spelling of that because I'm probably messing it up. Eleusis. That when it grew was golden. Excuse me, as it was enchanted, and it would grow and prosper, always providing enough to eat. One of Demeter's favourites and a devotee, the son of the good king Celius, was the boy that right. One of Demeter's favourites was the son of a king, and he was called Triptolemus. Demeter thought this man would be the ideal person to spread the seeds of the special grain and impart the wisdom of how to grow it. So she shared the secrets with him and lent him her own chariot. You had the chariot card, pulled by two mighty serpents. Two serpents. So there's two serpents on this card. So it's all interwoven. Everything's interwoven. And instructed him how to teach men how to work the fields properly. Triptolemus was a fine man and did what the goddess had instructed. He worked his way through Europe up into Asia and ended up far away in the land of Scythia, where he met the king Lynkos. Lynkos realized the incredible value of the secrets that Triptolemus held and wanted this power and status for himself. I'm getting something else in. He snuck into Triptolemus's bedchamber and raised a sharp dagger over his heart to kill him in his sleep. But the mighty Demeter saw this. She stopped Lynkos and transformed him into a lynx, a secretive animal, so he would hold Triptolemus's secret to himself forever. So again, it's this idea of kind of like being greedy with knowledge and trying to keep knowledge to yourself, a little bit like King Minos did with the architect that I've forgotten the name of, right? He kind of like, he wanted him all to himself. So it's like keeping something trapped, keeping knowledge trapped. It's making me think of the thing that I was kind of getting through as I was reading that was the Lemon speech from from Fall of the House of Usher. So there's this brilliant speech in it, and you don't have to watch the whole program to kind of Google the speech, but he's basically, and this isn't too many spoilers, it's just basically he's a businessman and he's saying, if life gives you lemons, and he goes, make lemonade, and he says, no, what you do is you patent the seeds, and then you kind of like do all this stuff so that basically you get the monopoly on lemon seeds, and then you kind of like over promote it so that everybody wants to buy lemon seeds or lemons, and then you kind of inflate the prices. It makes me think of what people did with diamonds, right? Like diamonds, they kind of like made it into sort of like, think of like Hollywood diamonds are a girl's best friend, or like breakfast at Tiffany's. So they kind of if you look at the history of diamonds, they weren't really seen as anything. Think about oysters as well. Like oysters was the food of common people. Like everybody ate oysters, they were cheap. And then they became this kind of like desirable food, and they inflated the prices of oysters, and now it's kind of like seen as this swanky food. But it used to be like a common as muck food, right? Full of bits of grit, why are you eating oysters? So it's the same thing with diamonds. It's like diamonds weren't particularly valuable, if you go back in time through history enough, people preferred other gemstones and things like this. So diamonds were kind of like boring. And then obviously, what they called there's like it's like a business that controls the prices of diamonds, right? And the supply of diamonds, and they basically inflated the price of diamonds because that's what they had to market, right? So they had like the actresses of the 50s and 60s being like, diamonds, and then everybody wanted a diamond. It's like, oh, if you're really in love with it, you'd buy her a massive diamond, and if you don't buy her a massive diamond, then your love is worthless, and like all these kind of marketing messages. And so like it's the same thing like with the Fall of the House of Usher and lemons, the idea of kind of like selling what you've got, which again, like, I respect the hustle, but it's making me think of, I don't know if again, this is speculation. Like, I don't have any facts or concrete evidence. I have heard a rumor as a example, which may or may not be true, that somebody like Bill Gates has been buying up the like the patents for seeds, right? Like GM foods and things like that. I don't know enough about it to be able to like give you any actual detail. Do strongly encourage you to go and fact check that yourself. Again, not slandering, just I heard a rumor, don't know if it's true or not, right? But as an example for kind of what I'm trying to explain. So yeah, this thing about injuring the fairy, if I go back to injuring the fairy, sorry, everything comes through is really long-winded, I'm sorry. I hurt the fairy. It's almost like I plucked the fairy's wings, or I incapacitated the fairy, because if I incapacitated the fairy, then I would be able to keep her, you know, like Tinkerbell in the lantern, and then her knowledge would be mine. You know, I would be the one to show the fairy to the world. Just this weird story that was coming through in dreams. I don't know what's under that. Wisdom, yeah. Look, I'm keeping the wisdom under wraps. This is my wisdom. I want the monopoly on the fairy wisdom. But in doing so, I'm injuring the thing. It's like I'm damaging the thing that I want to. It's not protection. Do you know what they're giving me? Kathy Bates, is that her name? You know, that's the second Stephen King, which is really funny to me because, you know, like sometimes things will come up and then they'll keep coming up. Like, again, it's like seeing the patterns. So, you know, the one where she's got the writer and she's like a big fan, and then she like, doesn't she hurt his knees? What is that story? I know it's a Stephen King story. And I'm hearing Kathy Bates. I think the actress is called Kathy Bates. I can see her. Right? It's like, I want this to be mine, and I will hurt this thing in order to keep it. It's funny because it says education, but all I'm getting from it is this, you know, like how I swatted the fairy. Ow, my wrist hurts. That must be a message for somebody, yeah? Okay. Lost in space, needing direction. It's kind of like, why isn't my, you know, like the idea of like a genie in a magic lamp. It's like, why isn't the genie responding to me anymore? Why isn't it granting my wishes anymore? I want to say it's like this. I'm not saying it's you, by the way. I think I'm seeing more like you're the fairy, right? It's kind of like this. Maybe the dragon is something that's been coming to you, and you're kind of feeling hurt or injured or misused by the dragon. So you're kind of like, it's because this is like it's looking inside its crystal ball, like the links with the girl inside the crystal ball, right? Like, you know, he's keeping her trapped. Like, Tinkerbell, wake up! Why aren't you responding? I need direction. So it could be like, look at the progression. 35, 36. So this also, it's feeling like cause and effect, right? I want to consult the fairy, right? I want the fairy magic to myself. Yeah, perhaps I haven't treated the fairy very. Maybe the fairy's feeling injured. There was something else as well about the planting of the seeds. Remember, like the dragon with the planting of the seeds? I feel like it came up in. Yeah. So do you know, like the story said, Demeter, which is this god, right? So if we're thinking of the dragons as being gods or guardian angels or something more powerful, it's not human, right? It's not a human entity. It's something that has more, perhaps, ancient wisdom or knowledge. Whatever this symbolism is, Demeter, the dragons, like this higher thing. You know, it's like it's come down and it's given us the seeds, like how the dragon gave me the eggs, right? Or Demeter gave the person, I can't remember the name of this, the seeds, these special crop seeds. Sort of like Prometheus giving fire to the humans. It's like, this is a gift to you. Take this gift, do good with it. And yet someone's seeing this gift, like how I saw the fairy, right? I was like, this is a magical fairy and I want to show people. Like, I don't want it, it's like I stopped it leaving of its own accord because I wanted to keep it and show people. I wanted the fairy in this dream. So the idea of kind of like something that comes to us as a gift because it's meant to help humanity, but someone else abusing that gift, right? Or keeping that gift suppressed. It's like injuring the person who has the gift to suppress them for selfish reasons seems to be the message that's coming through in lots of different ways. So it's like, wake up, where are you? Like, rubbing the lamp. Well, like, the genie needs to come out of the lamp because I have a wish. I need direction. I need knowledge. There's like but it's like the ball's empty, right? It's like the crystal ball's empty. Like, where has my fairy gone? Where is Tinkerbell? Do you see how I'm seeing that? Especially with that, I've lost the links card again now. I've put it back in the deck. But that's the point, right? And it's funny, the links card that I showed you, I've just seen the other card. So 2 cards came out. One was the links card, where it's like the links, you know, that bad king minus, right? Wanting the linkus or minus, you know, the greedy king who's wanting that information for himself. It's kind of like going, like, where is it gone? It's escaped, right? This was the card that came out, you know, like the girl in the crystal ball, the genie in the lamp. But then it's like it's not there anymore. And then look at this, the card that's under that. It's like she's left. It's like she's left. She's out of the water, right? She's left the consciousness. Which is funny because it brings me all the way back to the original message that I had. You know, I was in work and it was like it was almost like someone was calling me. So I'm not saying that you're the bad king or anything like that, but it's kind of like, where are you when I need you, right? So it's kind of like I had that feeling of someone wants to talk to you, you know, it's like somebody ringing you and not being able to answer, right? It's like, I'm busy, I've got something else to do. And they're like, well, where are you? And then purification, pure pine spirit purification. It's like the fairies left. It's like the fairies left the magic ball. I felt really bad for that fairy in that dream. Again, like, you don't have control about what you're dreaming about. Like, I don't think I'd hit a fairy to show people. It's like no one will believe me. It was like in the dream, it was this moment of panic. It was like this fairy showing up and me being like, oh my God, like it was almost like a moth or a little insect, right? It was really small. And me being like, but magical, right? It was a fairy. And in this dream, I was like, it started to go, like before I could call people over, because it's like whoever I was with, like, it felt like a group of people, like, it's like they were elsewhere, right? They were at a distance. So it's like by the time they got back, this fairy would have gone. So in this moment of panic, I kind of like swatted at it. It's like nobody will believe me. Nobody would believe me if they didn't see it for themselves. So I need to trap it. It's almost like, imagine, you know, like you trap a spider under a glass. No one will believe me if I don't trap this spider under this glass. That I really saw it, that it was really there. But then, like, you know, getting everybody, like, everybody finally coming back and going to it and it not being there. So it's making me think of, I once had a caterpillar, you know, like when you've got little kids and you find a caterpillar and they're like, I want to turn it into a butterfly. So right, fine. So you end up getting like, it was like a fish tank or a big box or something. You know, you cut the air holes in it and like you've got this caterpillar in the box then waiting for it to turn into a butterfly. But we went to check on it and the caterpillar wasn't in the box anymore and we didn't know where it had gone or how it had gotten out, right? It's like we checked everything and it wasn't there. So it must have like squeezed out of a tiny little hole. But it was like magic. It's like, where did it go? You know, it's that kind of feeling. That's so funny. Maybe it's something like, maybe it's whatever it is, it's like dug its way down into the earth. Maybe something's escaped. Maybe it's like something that's escaped through the earth. It's like tunneling out. I don't know, to avoid the storm. I don't know. That's the reading, guys. If, again, I keep getting told 100%, so whoever this reading's for, it should make perfect sense. I just have to trust that even if I don't fully understand the messages and I just feel like I'm talking absolute rambling nonsense on the internet, that it's going to be helpful to whoever needs to hear it. Like, I don't know. It doesn't have to make sense to me. It's not my message, right? It's not, I'm just the conduit. Okay. So, whoever this reading is for, and I'm just going to kind of show you, whoever this reading is for, have you got a final message, the most important message that can come through that will do the most good? No One by Alicia Keys. It says it can't load the lyrics. Let me just pull them up on Google. Spotify always goes really glitchy for me at this time of year. I don't know why. I probably know the lyrics actually, but I probably have to sing some of them to kind of like remember them. So it says, I just want you close where you can stay forever. You can be sure that it will only get better. You and me together through the days and nights. I don't worry because everything's going to be all right. People keep talking and they can say what they like, but all I know is everything's going to be all right. No one can get in the way of what I'm feeling. No one can get in the way of what I feel for you. It's such a lovely song. When the rain is pouring down and my heart is hurting, you will always be around. This I know for certain. You and me together through the days and nights. I don't worry because everything will be all right. And then it says, I know some people search the world to find something like what we have. I know people will try to divide something so real. So till the end of time, I'm telling you, there ain't no one that can get in the way of what I'm feeling. Oh, okay. Well, that's the message. I hope that's helpful to you. Maybe it's the idea of like, if you love something, let it go. You know, you don't have to trap something. If it's for you, it will return to you. It could be something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I will always be around. You know, like I thought I don't remember Peter Pan very well. I didn't really like that movie. I think even as a young child, I was like, this is racist. You know, like why are they so like? Why did they paint the Indian children like that? You know, Native American children like that. I think I felt there was something dated about it even when I was a child. I never took to it. And it was a story about boys, right? And Wendy was a goody two shoes and Tinkerbell was a brat, right? I was a Cinderella girly. Yeah, it's Cinderella who's this nice, she was just nice, right? She daydreamed and she had hope and she'd been downtrodden. So to me, like Cinderella was a much more likable character than the characters in Peter Pan who were like childish and didn't want to grow up. And I never liked them. And so I think I misremembered because I thought Peter Pan was mean to Tinkerbell. I thought he trapped her in the lantern because she was annoying him, right? That's the way I remembered it. But then when I actually looked it up and I kind of Googled the story, it says that Captain Hook trapped her in the lantern to stop her going to warn Peter. So I don't know if there's something in that as well. But Tinkerbell was loyal to Peter Pan, right? She, he didn't have to. She was annoyingly loyal to Peter Pan. He didn't have to kind of like trap her or make her stay. She was there by choice. So I don't know if there's something about kind of like if something comes to you of its own accord, you don't have to chain it up to make it stay. It could be something about abandonment issues. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I feel like I need one more card. Yeah, okay. Let's go angels. Angels and goddesses among us. We'll see what comes out of this. Again, matte. This kind of it's like peace and balance. Kind of like you've got serenity and balance. I don't know, it kind of makes me think of that. Argatis. It's mermaid energy. Right. Let me see if I can get 3 shuffles out before it starts spitting cards at me. There we go. Yeah, sometimes my cards want to talk before I'm ready for them to talk. Okay. I'm getting 1, 2, missed view, 99, 100. Did you ever do that? Like when you're a kid and it's like you want to count to 100. You're like 1, 2, missed view, 99, 100. Goddess Kuan Yin, compassion, kindness, and divine mercy. And Xinu, star family, star seed, and soulmates. I don't know, very high vibrational energies. That's kind of like the star card and the empress card for me. I'm going to leave that there. You can research that and look into 30-30. Look at me. 22-22, 30-30. I don't know. That's mad. Like, from both decks. Like, I'm using 2 decks, right? You've got the 30 card from both decks. So I feel like that must be significant. But it looks like the Empress and the Star card to me. Okay, I don't know. Make of it what you will. I'm going to leave it there. I hope this was helpful to you. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you again soon. Bye, friends.